franktalks.com.
At least once in your life, you have probably had feelings for a good friend. Then the internal battle sets in. Should you risk your friendship and see where it goes, or let the feelings subside? Joining us to talk about if you should tell your friend you've fallen for them is relationship coach Frank Kermit. Frank, welcome back to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Thank you, Kelly. Always exciting to be here.
When you fall in love with a friend, Frank, should you tell your friend directly? Because, this is huge, I would think.
It can be huge. And generally speaking, you don't just tell the friend directly, oh, by the way, I've fallen in love with you. There's a lot of reasons not to do that. First and foremost, the thought that you're already in love with somebody that you haven't even started dating, that you've known as a friend, can really creep a lot of people out. Because the fact is, okay, you might like the person, you may already be attracted to the person, but when you already think that you are in love, or when you already feel that you are in love with someone, it could be overwhelming, it could be a lot of pressure, and that doesn't make people feel comfortable.
Okay.
So generally speaking, no. There's only 2 times when you should be willing to tell a friend you've fallen in love. Number 1, when your friend already likes you back.
Okay. How do you know that, though, Frank? Do you know because there's, a thing going on, that unspoken thing? How do you know?
Well, usually you would have to ride on your intuition. Now, if your intuition's not very good, you might not know.
Okay.
But you may have everybody around you telling you, look, it's obvious the 2 of you are digging on each other. It's obvious that that friend of yours likes you back, so make your move. You may have people around you who see that the 2 of you have a connection, even though neither one of you is ready to act on it.
Okay.
So if your friend already likes you, or if your friend has hinted that, well, I really think we would, work out as a couple, in happenstance conversation that tends to happen between friends, that's one of the times you should take a chance. The second time that you should take a chance is when you know that your friend, whether or not your friend likes you back, is going to be willing to give you a chance and go on a date. There are some individuals who simply take the attitude that everybody gets a date. It's something that I work with people in my coaching. When somebody comes to me and says, look, I've been perpetually single for a long time. Well, are you open to going out on a first date with almost anybody just to get back out there? Well, no. Well, that might be the reason why people haven't exactly made a move on you. They're already afraid of rejection. It's those people who simply take the attitude of, even if I may not like you right away, even if I don't already like you, if you have the guts to ask me out, if you have the guts to let me know you're interested, everybody gets that one first date. And you give everybody a chance to sweep you off your feet. Now, if the friend that you've fallen in love with, you know they've done this in the past, and you know they have a very positive, open-minded attitude, that's when you can say, look, I really like you, and I want to see where this can go. Unless it's one of those 2 situations where you already have an idea that your friend likes you, or the other situation of they may not already like you, but they're at least open to dating somebody new and taking a chance, that's when you can go ahead and be direct and be honest. Otherwise, you're better off trying to structure an opportunity for the 2 of you together. Maybe structure a romantic walk and reach out and hold a hand and see what happens. See if you can let these things happen naturally, because when the 2 of you end up kissing for the first time, it wasn't planned, but you just lock eyes and you go for it. Sometimes those type of starts to a relationship are a lot more intense, they're a lot more impactful, and they say, well, I wasn't thinking about you in that way, but when we held hands, when we danced, when we looked into each other's eyes, and then we leaned in for the kiss, I got swept up by the moment. Okay, I'm willing to give it a chance now. It's not something they can intellectually get into. Sometimes you have to take them through the motion and take the risk.
Okay. Do you need to have an internal discussion with yourself, Frank, about that? Because I feel like if you are especially fairly good friends with this person, it is risky to potentially lose that friendship, because that's exactly I had that happen when I was a teenager, and I still regret it. I'm no longer friends with this guy, and I'm sad because I don't who's to say we would still be friends these years later, but I know in the immediate sort of 2, 3, 4 years after, I was very sad.
Look, you're going to have to come to terms with a certain ideology that I teach in my practice as well, and that is, most friendships you have now will probably not be in your life within the next 10 years.
Okay.
Friendship has a time limit of 10 years. And the reason for that isn't because the two of you are going to become enemies. It's not because the two of you are going to start hating on one another. It's because each of you is going to go on a different path in your life. Now, with social media, people are connecting with individuals that they haven't seen in 20 years. And when you go to your social media sites, you can say, oh, look, so-and-so's got something new in their life. So-and-so posted a picture of their family. And, oh, that's really nice. Prior to social media, unless somebody was in your immediate social circle, you probably would not have run into them. The friendships you had from 10 years ago are probably not in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
People change in terms of their career choices, where they're going to live. People move away. People move into your life. The concept that, oh, I always want to be friends. Well, the fact is, the friendship that you have right now may not serve either of you in the future. Well, one of you may get married and your spouse says, hey, I don't want you to be friends with somebody from your past like that. That's, especially somebody that you had a crush on at one point. I don't feel comfortable with that. And you always have to put your spouse ahead of your friends. So let's be realistic here. That friendship that you're mourning right now, chances are very high that they wouldn't be anything more than an acquaintance or someone that you know through social media. And that's where it stops. So you can get over the mourning of it by saying, look, I recognize that friendship was a time-limited endeavor anyway. If the friendship can't survive one person developing feelings and then being able to move past that, the friendship wouldn't survive other forms of crisis that come into someone's life.
Okay. Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show, relationship coach Frank Kermit. For more relationship tips and advice, make sure to check out his website, franktalks.com. Frank, what do you do if your friend who you have the hots for is already dating someone else?
Once again, you're going to have to make a very hard choice, and although you can choose your actions, you can't choose your consequences. My general advice is, if you like someone and that person's already in a relationship, date other people. Just go out and date other people. Chances are the person that they're dating now probably isn't going to be their lifelong partner anyway. The statistics are against that, unless they've really made a serious move, moving in together, getting engaged, having children together, making a large purchase together. The bottom line is you have to make a choice. If you go ahead and reveal your feelings to your friend, it's very possible that your friend might say, look, this is really great, it's really wonderful, I'm flattered, but I'm already with somebody. And I don't want to break up this relationship to test the waters on something new. I have in my practice encountered couples who met exactly that way, where one person said, look, I've got feelings for you. I know you're with somebody else, but I've got feelings for you, and I can't help it, so I need you to know because I don't want to mislead you in anything. Okay, for me, this is no longer just a friendship, and I'm carrying the torch for you, and that was significant enough that made the friend say, "Wow, like you really moved me with the way you told me." Where they have ended the relationship they were in, they said, "Oh, well, it wasn't really serious. I was already thinking about ending it." Then this opportunity comes along, and they went for it. So I have met couples who have started their relationships that way, but once again, there's a consequence to that action. How comfortable are you going to be knowing that your partner, your friend, was with somebody else, was making some sort of a promise of some sort of commitment, and was willing to walk away from that other person to be with you? Will you have suspicions? Will you have insecurities that when things get rough later on in life, will somebody be able to come to your partner and take that partner away from you? If you are a very insecure person, and if you're the type of person that maybe has a jealous streak running through you, might not be the best way to start a relationship.
If you take the risk and, tell this person that you have feelings for them, first of all, what happens if they reject you? And B, if they do reject you, is it still possible to keep that friendship? Because obviously it's going to be incredibly awkward for a bit.
It is going to be awkward, and here's what you have to know. If you behave awkward,
yeah,
all you're going to do is encourage your friend to feel even more awkward, and it's going to be very difficult to get the friendship back on track. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to remember that it starts with you. You're the one that's probably hurting more. You're the one that was rejected. So if you turn around and feel awkward or act inappropriately around them, they're going to feel worse, and the divide is going to become even greater. You're going to have to take the hit on this one. You're going to have to bite the bullet. Yeah, it's really killing me, but if you value the friendship and you want to keep the friendship, you're not going to change the way you behave around that person going forward. Now, with that said, you also have to be mindful of the fact that if a friend rejects you, it's a very different kind of rejection than when a stranger rejects you. You meet somebody on the street, you say, hey, I saw you over there. I think you're kind of cute. Can I get your phone number? And they say, well, no, thank you. They could say no, thank you for a ton of reasons. They're already involved. They're just not interested right now. Maybe they're just having a bad day. The rejection is not necessarily a reflection of you. But when it's a friend, when it's somebody who knows what you have to offer, who's seen you on your good days and your bad days, and they're not even willing to take a chance and say, let's see if this can go somewhere. It's very easy to develop feelings of resentment towards that friend, because the bottom line is it's easy to take it as an insult. Mm-hmm. You know what I have to offer. You know my good qualities. You know my bad qualities. You like me enough to be a friend, but you don't like me enough to take a chance, but you'd be willing to take that chance with a complete stranger? That can be seen as an insult. That's why one of the things I teach people is the best relationships you can get into are with people who like you as a friend first. Why? Because that's the type of person that already knows your faults and still wants to stick around you. That's a pretty good recipe for a long-term relationship and a serious partner. If you aren't even willing to give your friends a chance to date you, you have just eliminated a wonderful pool of people that have already proven that they want to stick around you. If a person takes it as an insult, sometimes the resentment that builds from that makes it difficult to continue to have that friendship. So you have to keep your emotions in check. If you find yourself feeling resentful, or if you are not able to manage your own awkward feelings, which is going to fuel the other person's awkward feelings, then you are going to lose that friendship. And you have to understand that even if you're okay with it and you're not feeling resentful and you're going to behave in the same manner as you did before, your friend may still feel awkward. Your friend may not be capable of handling it. That's why you have to set the example. There's still a chance you might lose the friendship, but as long as you continue to lead with the way you're going to show this is how we can feel about it and this is okay, that's how you can salvage the friendship.
Should you make the situation be a friends with benefits idea or situation first before sort of, should you try that route first where it's sort of quasi-casual and then really tell them you have feelings, or should you be kind of upfront? Because I don't know, I feel like that's quite a difficult situation.
It can be a very difficult situation, and here's the reality, and I'm basing this not on the theory of the way things should be. I'm basing this strictly on what I see in my practice, and that is it's actually easier if you go from being friends to friends with benefits and then into a relationship.
Okay.
Because there's a lot less pressure.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Let's take the position of the friend who's being approached. I've got a good friend. The friend approaches me and says, hey, have you ever thought about being friends with benefits? Have you ever basically wanted to be each other's practice person? We can practice with each other, no strings attached, and let's just see, let's see if we match together this way. Most people would be looking at that and saying, well, it's possible. Let's think about it. I don't know. It would be something that is very low pressure because there's no heavy expectation. Mm-hmm. There's no massive chance of having to hurt someone with a major rejection. So if that's what's being offered, and it's being offered by someone you've known for a long time, someone you consider a friend, well, maybe it's something to look at if I'm feeling lonely, maybe I do like the person, but I've never considered the person in that way. This would be a safe way to try it out. Now let's look at the other option. I've known somebody for years. We're friends. Person comes up to me and says, I'm in love with you. Let's try to be together. Mm. Whoa. Way too much pressure there. How can you even be in love with me when we haven't even dated a while? Maybe I'm a little creeped out. Maybe I'm kind of overwhelmed. And now I have to take the responsibility to try something where you're already into it. I don't know how I feel. Everything is on me. You know what? What if we date for a little while and it turns out I don't like you? What if it happens? I don't want to end up hurting you since you've got so much. Do you see what's happening here? Mm-hmm. For the person who's on the receiving end of this, the option of trying to be friends with benefits, where there's a lot less pressure, a lot less strings attached, can be more appealing for people than the option of, you have to make a decision right now because I've already decided that we're in love and we're going to get married and we're going to have a future. All of a sudden now, that's kind of a lot to live up to.
Yep.
And what I have in my practice is I got people coming up to me saying, I have a friends with benefits. We were just supposed to do this for fun, but I've fallen in love. Now what do I do?
Right.
Well, did you follow the rules of friends with benefits, which is you don't, do the things that a regular couple does. Inevitably, that's what happens, though. There's always that risk, and it happens more times than not that you're going to start feeling feelings of attachment. That's why going the routes of friends with benefits first can actually lead to that. A lot of couples who were together break up. They don't want to get back together, but they figure, well, we can be friends with benefits until one of us meets somebody else because we're both lonely. What ends up happening? They end up back together.
Right.
Because it's just easier.
Okay.
So friends with benefits can be a very good gateway. However, it's not for everybody.
Frank, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. It's always great advice.
Kelly, it's always a pleasure to come on your show. I think this might be now my 20th appearance, and I'm looking to do so many more with you.
Excellent. That is our relationship coach, Frank Kermit. And again, a quick note to our Montreal listeners listening in the Montreal area here in Quebec. Frank is actually going to be a keynote speaker at the Solo Lifestyle Show on Valentine weekend, St. Valentine's Day weekend, here in Montreal at Place Bonaventure. There's more information on his website, franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
What do you do when you feel like a fool? When your heart has been broken again? Pick up the phone or get onto Skype and talk on a private session. Yeah, get a little help from Frank Talks. Whoa, whoa, get by with a little help from Frank Talks. You gotta try a little help from Frank Talks. What do you do when your love goes away? Try coaching one-on-one. How do I sign up to turn things around? Just sign up at franktalks.com. Yeah, get by with help from Frank Talks. I get by with little help from Frank Talks. Time to try a little help from Frank Talks. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's the best rate going around. Could it cost a lot of money? Oh, it's worth every cent that you will put down. Yeah. FrankTalks.com. Oh, you got to go to get your help from FrankTalks.com. Yeah, yeah. FrankTalks.com. Would you believe that Frank gets results? Yes, we're certain. Just read the reviews. Frank knows his stuff, and Frank's got the goods. Good love can soon come to you.